We have this idea of the average student. But honestly, if you actually look inside any real classroom, you have to ask yourself, does that person even exist? Today, we're going to dig into a powerful idea that says nope, and it offers a totally different way to think about education. Yeah, this quote just hits the nail on the head, right? The whole idea of a standard issue student, it's a myth. The reality is that there's this huge, wide variance in every group. So what does that variance actually look like on the ground? All right, let's step inside one of these so-called one-size-fits-all classrooms. And what you'll find is really a tale of many, many different students. So picture a first grade classroom. It's the beginning of the year. You've got this room buzzing with all these eager little faces. But behind all those smiles, there's a massive range of abilities, backgrounds, and needs. So over in one corner, you've got a kid who's already tearing through third grade books. I mean, they've basically mastered the entire year's reading curriculum before it's even started. So the question is, how do you keep them from getting completely bored? Meanwhile, in that exact same room, maybe just a few feet away, there's another student who's still struggling to tell the letter B from the letter D. They need some really fundamental support. The gap between just those two kids is already enormous. And it's never just about academics. You've got Lynn, who's a math whiz, but English is her second language, and she feels totally isolated. And then you have Raphael, who just loves to learn, but he's dealing with pressure from his friends who think school isn't cool. These are complex, real-life human challenges happening all at once. So this really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? With this much diversity all packed into one room, how can a single teacher possibly teach them all? How can a one-size-fits-all approach ever hope to work? Well, the answer isn't some magic curriculum. It's about a whole new philosophy, a different way of thinking that shifts away from standardization and moves toward finding the right fit for every single student. And this analogy here is just perfect. A one-size-fits-all classroom is like trying to make one t-shirt fit both a tiny toddler and a professional basketball player. It's not going to work. The goal is to get clothes, or in this case, an education, that is the right fit for each individual. This whole philosophy is called differentiated instruction, and it's not just a single strategy, it's really a mindset. The core idea is simple. You tailor the instruction to meet the individual needs of the students, and the goal, to maximize every single student's capacity to learn. Okay, so you might be wondering, how does a teacher actually do this? Does it mean writing 30 different lesson plans every night? No way. It's about having a flexible toolkit of strategies. So let's take a look at how it works. This grid here is basically the whole framework. On one side, you have the three things a teacher can adjust. The content, that's what students learn, the process, how they learn it, and the product, how they show what they've learned. And then across the top, you have the three student traits they're responding to: their readiness, their interest, and their learning profile. Let's break those down. First up, the levers a teacher can pull. They can adjust the content, so maybe some students get different books to read on the exact same topic. They can adjust the process, so maybe some kids work better in groups, while others really need to study on their own. And they can adjust the product. That's how students show what they know. Maybe it's a written report, or a video, or even a performance. And teachers make those adjustments based on three key things about each student: their readiness, which is just their current knowledge and skill level; their interest, which is what they're passionate or just plain curious about; and their learning profile, which is all about how they learn best. Are they visual, auditory? Do they need to move around? Okay, so that's all the theory. Now let's see what a classroom actually looks like when you put all this into practice. Let's check out Mr. Rake's math class. Before he starts a new chapter, he does a quick pre-assessment. The students who already know the material get to compact out, which means they skip the regular lessons and get to work on more advanced, independent projects. This is genius because it frees up Mr. Rakes to work in small, flexible groups with the students who need that targeted support. Or take a look at Mrs. Riley's third grade class. She uses learning centers. Some are based on readiness, where students practice specific skills they need help with, but she also has interest centers where they can choose to explore things like acting or storyboarding. And her reading time is totally flexible. Students read alone, with partners, or in groups, using books that are matched to their level and their passions. And this is really the key. Differentiated instruction isn't just about helping struggling students catch up. It's truly about unlocking the potential of every student, from the one who's struggling to the one who's already years ahead. But let's go back to those advanced learners for a second. What happens when school is always a cinch for them? We tend to think that's a great thing, but actually, there are some hidden risks we need to talk about. Well, when school is always too easy, advanced students can become mentally lazy. Their brains are just never truly challenged. They can also get hooked on praise, which can make them afraid to take intellectual risks. And maybe worst of all, they never learn the crucial skill of how to struggle. So when they finally do face a real challenge, maybe in college or in their first job, they can crumble because they just don't have the tools to cope. And this quote really gets to the heart of why that struggle is so important. True confidence, or self-efficacy, doesn't come from being told you're smart. It comes from the experience of stretching yourself to achieve a goal that you honestly thought was beyond your reach. It's a muscle that you have to build through hard work. And all of this leads to a complete redefinition of what fair means in a classroom. We often think fair means everyone gets the same thing. But in a differentiated classroom, fair doesn't mean equal. It means everyone gets what they need to succeed and to grow. So I'll leave you with this final question to think about. If fair isn't everyone getting the same thing, but instead everyone getting what they need to grow, how can we build classrooms that are truly fair to everyone? Because giving every student the right challenge and the right support, that's not just a good teaching strategy. It's how we build a world where every single student has a chance to thrive.